Spiders at least like straight damage. Shoals, I will have to be slightly worried about the willpower aspect. Lots of range damage coming in. Might get a large amount of big stones. I guess large amount of large stones just didn't quite feel right coming out of my brain, but probably would have been slightly less awkward of a sentence than stumbling around it. I guess I'm a sucker for that kind of mentality. Spending 5 minutes or doing something incredibly awkward just to eke out the tiniest advantage that I might have otherwise have faced. Totally worth it. But okie dokie, let's see how Spider goes. That should be too scary. I don't believe so. No, I'm feeling pretty dang solid for sure. I do not have resist corrosion right now. I do have a ring, but I'm not actively wearing it at the moment. In fact, let's keep that in mind, because we did even just come across a, whatchamacallit there? Entropy Weaver? That's what they're called. Entropy Weaver. So with that in mind, maybe we'll swap over. Willpower, not super useful. Most enemies here, like tarantulas, don't check your willpower on their confusion, so I just dropped that. One advantage that I kind of forgot about until we got back into the thick of things here is that our clouds are going to demolish spiders. They're all slightly too squishy, and so we're definitely able to take some advantage of that and just let them burn up, freeze up, electrify themselves, what have you. Whatever flavor of demise they prefer. In our lovely Qazlal clouds, so as always, thank you to our cloud summoning friend in the sky. Here we go, finally taking a bit of damage. These close encounters, or close corridors rather, not great for said clouds, because it does very much inhibit and mitigate the summoning of them, or the spawning rather, but not the end of the world there. After playing normal characters for a while, it's always funny going to a troll, because as soon as I hit those, like, you know, around 50 to 60% HP is when I'm starting to worry a bit. But on the troll, you're still sitting at between 80 and 100 HP, which is just wild. And I guess I could take Azrael upstairs to lighten the load, but again, we are pretty well suited against fire-themed enemies, so we'll just keep on keeping on. Playing a little bit sloppy, a little bit fast and loose, but hey, if it works, then it works. And nothing to be too concerned about. Of course, even with resist corrosion, still sucks to come across entropy weavers. So we will get rid of that as soon as possible. Hello, Asterion. Well, we'll just tab fight through you, my friend. Apologies for not taking you too seriously. But again, at this stage, feeling pretty solid. Do I need willpower against you, my friend? No. I do not. Well, that is quite unfortunate. I'm actually doing worse in this encounter than I expected, at the very least, so big ups to you on that, Arachne. Congrats. Should be very proud, seeing as how this character hasn't been phased by pretty much anything that's come across them in recent memory. Besides when I do something silly, which is just bound to happen, really, at the end of the day. Even tab fighting against an orb spider, probably not the best idea. That's where you get very suddenly surprised by a fully spun up orb of destruction. But no dice for our lovely spider friend here today. And similar with that one. Beautiful. It's gonna sneak up on me, guaranteed. Yes. And probably won't survive said encounter, but hopefully doesn't manage to catch up to us before the point of winning the run here. That's the plan as it stands. Holy crud, that's a lot of boulder beetles. Hello, my friends. That very well could have been the moment of realization, but fortunately they all seem to miss me every time or roll zeros. I wasn't paying super close attention to the combat log, but regardless, suffice it to say that it worked out for us, all in all. So that is fantastic. And again, I am hoping that Spider won't be the time that we do realize our mistakes. Oh my gosh. Like 10 large rocks just chilling? That's an incredible boon for us. Love to see that for sure. Okay, so we have even more tools at our disposal for the future. 30 large stones is a pretty solid number. Let's start walking towards this orb spider, shall we? Hello, my friend. And once again, we'll kind of back you into a corner with the help of your friends. Perfect. Thank you for ganging up on the orb spider with me, my arachnid pals. I guess boulder beetle, probably not an arachnid. Could be a misnomer, for sure. Plenty of animals named incredibly incorrectly. But, perfect. There we go. Spider 1 to 3, no real issues. We'll see how 4 goes. Definitely quite the crowd here. Oh, and I've no magic because of ghost moths, but also spirit guardian I have to keep in mind. Okay. Slowed, pretty poisoned. Let's start to slow down outside of the game as well here. Try to keep ourselves in good shape. This is a bit more indicative of the classic Qazlal conundrum. Completely surrounded by all of our new friends pretty dang quickly. Actually, I'm especially concerned about Radroach, as our additional armor that we've gone from being fortunate enough to spawn in the Gold Dragon Scales early days is not going to mean too much against that son of a gun. But okay, we'll read a teleport to start off. Might actually go for a heal slightly early on here. Again, if I had a bit of magic, then we'd have some recourse here. In fact, I could drink a magic potion and hope that it leaves me with enough magic to do one disaster area, because a disaster area will clear out the majority of these sons of guns. Alternatively, back ourselves into a corner. Let's read another teleport again. Just so much damage. Yeah, less so crept up on us than just immediately jumped into our face. Just how terrified we should be. So I'm guessing next action I take probably triggers the teleport. I would like to not land somewhere that immediately kills me. Unfortunately, no real promises. I could risk it and like go for the drinking of magic now. I guess that's kind of a pseudo health if I don't teleport out or if I land in trouble. But the flip side of it is if I land somewhere that I have that tiniest bit of wiggle room, then I can start blasting everything into oblivion. Ends up being slightly too safe of a landing zone, so now I very much feel like that was a bit of a waste, unfortunately. But hey, better safe than sorry. I think we will try to swap out of this Spirit Guardian amulet as soon as we ideally can. Okay, and yep, Ghost Moth, of course, coming in to cause some issues. So okay, we're gonna get ready to zip-de-doo-dah once again here. Maybe the magic Actually, I was going to say maybe it wasn't a waste after all, because it was a bit of extra health here, but the Ghost Moth probably just sucked it all out of us before it really had too much of an opportunity. Okay. Take me away. Perfect. Right by the stairs. There we go. Okay. A moment. Bring ourselves back in. Let's be slightly more intelligent about this. Stay on the stairs when possible. In fact, why was I off the stairs? I don't even really remember what all went down there. Definitely, yeah. Incredibly fortunate teleport there, for sure. Oh, as we get confused, thank you, my Tarantella friends. Let's cure that. Head upstairs with just some of our new friends. And we're gonna disaster area. Doesn't actually do as well as I expected. Maybe I need slightly more training to really kick that buddy into gear. In fact, hate to say it, but I think we're gonna have to go through one more teleport cycle here. Fortunately, this floor, way safer opportunity to do just such a thing. And okay, nice reminder that Spider 4 can always turn into a nightmare, specifically, or even more generally, I would even say, all rune branches, and more on, geez, so many clarifications, I cannot make my way through this sentence. Essentially, the final floor of all the rune branches in general is something we should be a little bit more cautious about, just because it can be quite an interesting adventure coming down, making all of the noise that we do and having to face off against the majority of the floor. You know, let's just try this again, shall we? I mean, that last one was definitely a wee bit nicer. We are slowed by the torpor snail. We're probably going to try and leave soon. In fact, there we go. This is a good opportunity. Get the heck out of Dodge. And we'll probably keep swapping around stairs. I guess this is the hidden advantage of our... Probably should not have taken that Orb of Destruction to the face. I was hoping this gosh darn torpor snail would walk next to me and simplify things a bit, but that's fine. And okie dokie, but as I was mentioning, I think using Qazlal's noise as kind of a an additional way to do this merry-go-round type strategy as we're bringing enemies to us. I did step off the stairwell again, just as we said we never would. Perfect. Aha. There we go. Rad Roach next door. Currently surrounded by other enemies, so it's a decent time for me to try to take care of them. Or not at all. Let's pop upstairs. And upheaval, meh. Don't have too many clouds around for digging into our ability pockets. I guess disaster area might still just be my best bet. I don't really want to clear out too many of the periphery enemies here, because I do not want this rad roach to start radiating. I'm worried now that the rad roach does have some logic, much like I think it's Azrael and maybe genies in general, that will start to throw damnation when they're at low health. And I think a lot of damnation enemies in general will like have custom rules when they think they can get away with just murdering the player outright. But okay, switch over to rocks. And rad roach, if you could please take some of these to the face. Or not at all. That's very cool and neat of you too. There we go. Do manage to take care of these buddies. And the nice little bit of slowdown actually works out quite well for us here. and making sure that we're not going to do anything too silly, all things considered. Getting pretty close to the skill caps we set on everything, so we can start maybe training more invocations, getting that disaster area to actually be useful. Sorry, Qazlal. Don't mean it like that. Just more useful than it already is. Just more useful. In fact, there we go, though. We'll start blasting once again. And you know what? Maybe we will finish off with an elemental upheaval. Get a bunch of friendly summons coming our way. As long as I don't get confused, they shouldn't be too much of a problem. In fact, oh my gosh, air elementals having a stun. I don't know if I've played with Qazlal since that change. Huh. Elemental Force might have gone quite a bit stronger than it was back in the day. I found that I never really used it. In fact, on a lot of Qazlal characters, I haven't historically found myself using their abilities nearly enough. I specifically harken back to my very first victory in DCSS many moons ago, in which I was playing a Gargoyle of Qazlal, who mainly just used it as a nice source of AoE damage all around us, you know, the extra shielding also helping. But okie dokie, you know, I'll make room for Ambrosia. We get our rune. I now see what the problem was, and it's that this is like a very wide open spider. And so, of course, gathering all of the enemies, you know, from the end vault and whatnot, all in one place, definitely makes a bit more sense. Hopefully we don't see anything too similar in Shoals. Hopefully things are a little bit more cordoned off. Even getting like the fortress in Shoals, I think, would help out. What? No, that's fine. I'll swap over. We'll just throw rock instead at our friends. In fact, I guess maybe that's just my life now. Additionally, could walk over to the stairs to at least give us some little bit of backup support. And not too shabby. Let's not throw any rocks into deep water. In fact, I should have been more cautious with those initial throws, that not only do we have to make sure our target isn't in deep water, but that there's no deep water behind them. Don't want to lose even a single one of our valuable throwables, if at all possible. Could also swap over. I guess we're still wearing the resist corrosion. Let's change that out for flight, since that is a hugely useful boon to have in Shoals. As long as it doesn't make us explore too deep into the oceans and get ambushed by a kraken or two at the very least. Ah, hello Nikolai. Let's get some silence going. I should be more cautious of this Centaur Warrior in general. In fact, oh, I'm marked. Whoops. Let's walk our way towards this son of a gun, since they will continue just ruining my life from afar. I mean, at the very least, a mark trap, not that much worse than just worshipping Qazlal. Ooh, being in deep water, though. Now that is rough. In fact, I might lose a stone there, but it's worth it just to make sure that we don't get water strike coming our way again here. Holy moly. Okay, so besides these occasional spikes in difficulty, going relatively smoothly, just have to not do anything too stupid on my end, which is a big ask, a difficult ask even. But just have to believe, and we will eventually make it through here in one piece. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so hello friends. Let's do disaster area. And then elemental force. We're gonna be snowballing all these levels. Let's lean into it hard. Ooh, that sleep could have been a heck of a lot worse, but never mind. The elementals, again, just stupidly overpowered. Did not used to be quite so incredible. Still strong, don't get me wrong, but nothing quite to this level. Pretty expensive manuals here, but I might just buy both. Evo and Invo are both pretty integral pieces to our overall chances of success here. You know what? Why have such a flush bank account if we're not going to use it, you know? So we can pick up those bad boys, and armor's getting pretty close to where we want it, so why don't we put both these on with a focus. We'll bring them up to somewhere like 15, and then now is about the time in the run where I might put on throwing in unarmed combat, and those are just going to train until the end of the run. Unarmed combat specifically, unlike most weapon skills, is continually useful to upgrade. It's worth bringing it all the way to 27. Polyphemus, I think I can take you, my friend, especially if our cattle plebis friend blows through us. Oh my gosh, I also just way later down the line than I should have came to the realization as to what happened in Lair 5 all those minutes ago. Or I don't think Lair 5, it was in the regular dungeon when we came back out, that I kept being kind of surprised that we weren't getting petrified. Petrification from a Catoplebis involves clouds, of course. So it was actually never really a consideration for us. We are completely immune to them. Just let that one slip my mind. Whoopsie daisies. But fortunately, regardless of whether I remember it's a factor or not, the final say in the matter is that we are immune to said clouds, and so that is fantastic. I wonder if there's any good way for me to ignore the open ocean here. Once we've explored a little bit of it, we can start dropping like exclusionary zones and stuff. I guess the one advantage we have against Kraken here, or one of the advantages, since there are a few at the very least, is that the clouds will deal some pretty wild amounts of damage. Ooh, acquirement scroll. I could just crack this in silence immediately. Then I actually almost feel slightly bad for all of our new friends here, but that lets us get through without worrying about all of the annoying water strike damage that would otherwise be ruining our attempt, and let's hope this is worth it. Better than a silent scroll, please and thank you. Not really better than a silent scroll. Manual of dodging though, sure, I'll pick up. Maybe at some point we'll train some dodging. I definitely should. Whether I will is maybe another question, but definitely should. And with that, let's just continue deeper and deeper into the depths, shall we? See Invisible, I don't imagine we'll be swapping off this gold dragon armor at any point. Could be wrong, could find just an incredible artifact armor at some point in the future, but I think that's a relatively safe assumption to make. I'm kind of just strategically staying out of water nymph sight range for as long as we could there, as long as we reasonably could, I should add. But there we go. Once they're a little bit closer and we're forced to resort to disaster area, definitely don't really mind doing so. Doing an okay job balancing piety. I actually thought that our large expenditure of abilities recently would cause us some grief in that department, but fortunately does not seem to be the case. And there we go, our first Javelineer, who I would like if you would come to shore. Like, try not to accidentally murder you too quickly. There we go, at least the shallows, my friend. How am I doing so fine against the Javelineer? Again, I could have paid more attention to the logs to actually get an answer to that. I'm guessing we just got lucky and dodged shots constantly, which I will still gladly take. Not complaining whatsoever, but not something we can rely on in the future. And speaking of, let's see what the final floor looks like. Hopefully not quite as nasty as we found Spider, but unfortunately, no real guarantees. And right, the other thing I actually want to do is train more shields at some point. I would like to get up to that tower shield of reflection. Okay, let's just stand on the stairs for a bit. They will come to us. In fact, against our satyr friend here, we can do a bit of a ranged duel. 62% chance to hit you. Not really going our way, unfortunately. And really, hello? I'm making a lot of noise here, folks. Where the heck are the rest of you? I'm used to there being quite the welcoming party on these final floors. Fair enough. And there we go. Okay, this is starting to look a little more like it. I was gonna say for better or for worse, but let's be honest, it is definitely for the worst in terms of our continued survival. But hey, hopefully it doesn't end up being the be-all end-all. And there we go. Ooh, we do not have room for the silver javelins, but I would definitely like to have those available to us. I probably have degeneration. Yeah, I do have degeneration just sitting around in my inventory. Some things just never change. Ooh, and very unfortunate timing on the net there. Luckily, does not end up being too much of a deciding factor in how the encounter goes. Should definitely start being a little more cautious though. I'm playing again very fast and loose. Oh, and I can't get out of the engulf right now. Okay, let's kill you, my friend. So then I can blast the rest of these sons of guns into next week. Perfect. Still mesmerized. Oh, and there is still another Javelineer buddy waiting for us. Cold resistance. Oh, right. One thing I did forget about. One of the other Qazlal abilities is that sometimes when we take elemental damage, we get temporary resistance to it. So we took a bit of cold damage, get an additional bit of cold resistance in exchange. Pretty nice stuff. You know, let's fog up the place. Fortunately, my clouds are actually kind of the issue at this point. I have no heal wounds. Oh, Javelineer buddy is at least out of deep water, so I can justify throwing the large rock this time. And let's just risk jumping immediately into this. The satyr being a real pain in the rear. But there we go. Holy moly. Floating at way less health than I would have liked for a lot of that encounter, but that is fine. At the end of the day, not really a deal breaker. Please murder them. Thank you, large rocks. This is where that throwing definitely comes in handy, just to make sure that we're not risking life and limb at every single slight here. Oh, hello, my Kraken friend. Are you gonna... There we go. Reach out and grab me. Thank you.